All right. Hey, hey. All right, let's get going. So, everybody, welcome back. This is going to be um, something about love. We'll see where this one takes us, shall we? Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoy my fictional storytelling. We start with a Nine of Cups. Now, you notice I have a very colorful backdrop behind me. I'm using more colorful, vibrant cards because we just came through that solar eclipse, which can be considered a time of great transformation. But after transformation, it means that now we got to reconfigure things. What happens when we are like redecorating? We are in a process then of doing exactly that. We take out the old and we bring in the new. But what's the new going to look like? What are the changes? So we got all these splashes of colors behind me, and it could coalesce into just about anything. So let's keep that in mind. We got the Nine of Cups, which talks about at the forefront of somebody's mind happiness. When it comes to matters of love, matters of romance, somebody's saying, you know what? It never fails anytime I go live, Aries Sparks. Um, it says, no matter what I would like to have is happiness. That's what I care about. Who makes me smile? What makes me smile? That's what I want to go toward. That's my idea of love now. Hey, EM, good to see you, darling. We have a 10 of Wands. We have a 6 of Cups. I definitely feel like we have a character that is completely ready to lay down old wounds, old burdens to the point where they don't even remember people's faces anymore. If it was unsatisfying, it's okay. It's been scrubbed down. And this is a really interesting card because if you look closely, we could see a lot of different things. It's kind of like one of those Rorsch ink blot tests, right? Because I see a person here first, right? But she has no head. Then here we see her morph into kind of like a tree, like the tree of life. Or you could see it as deer antlers, a sign of kind of like virility, springtime, change. Whereas a tree of life is about personal growth. But if you look within this, we also see what looks suspiciously similar to the brain, and then here we kind of have a tip of the hat to that third eye. So to me, this card says a lot. This is a character who has kind of like let go of fear, guilt, shame, remorse that they held in their brain, that they held in their patterning of how they viewed themselves in life. They have been able to kind of like create a clean slate. And if anything, I think that they're ready to understand that things that they chose in the past, even if it didn't turn out great, maybe intuitively they were drawn to those things for a reason as well. So they've made peace with all of it and it's onward. New day, new song, new music, new tempo, new fresh breeze. And sure enough, this character is very ready. They may have a refreshed viewpoint of, hey, lots of soulmates come into our life. I'm ready to meet another one. This could be a character who has completed old journeys with old soulmates, yet they are so ready to meet other soulmates. Now, to me, soulmates, the way I like to describe it in my storytelling, is the idea that we could have. It's going to be the most interruptive story I've ever had. I'll call you back, mommy. Um, this is one of those messages of a character who has got maybe past life soulmates, because to me, soulmates can be those souls that we reincarnate with, to learn more lessons with, or to pick up where we left off, or to recombine and experience a new phase of life because we have shared or complementary energies, and so we'll help each other out in the next time too. Doesn't have to be romantic, but could be. Now again, this is my mystical fantastical vision. I'm not saying this is how it is. I don't know how it is, but I like that idea, so I could get down with that because I love sci-fi. But this particular character is very much, for the purpose of our story, this is a character who's like, oh my God, I'm so ready to be happy. And you know what? I believe that there's soulmates out there that I'm supposed to meet, that I'm going to meet, that I'm going to naturally be gravitating toward. I'm going to end up being right where I need to be to have the happiest possible outcome, because that's what I'm asking for and that's what I'm open to. That's the single most important aspect, I think, of this story is I'm open to that, therefore I'm ready for that. We have Five of Swords, and I always look at this Five of Swords, even though this can be about blockages. We have this fantastic little half wolf, half hare, kind of creature with wings. We have some, I usually look at this as like somebody has a really unique little spirit guide. Now, they could have an interesting piece of jewelry or a medallion or something. They could have something that they carry with them. And it's fives are numbers of change, but it also looks like a hood ornament to me. So I have to say, our character is very much ready to move toward things that will make them happy. They're sure that they will encounter some soulmates, but they also know, they trust that they're going to be protected or guided to drive right past things that might not be good for them. However, there's a caveat to this because sometimes learning what things we need to block, we have to pause long enough to recognize, ooh, no, that's not good for me. So they're going to be open to the idea that some soulmates are going to be there to teach them a lesson about, like, ooh, that's a no-go zone. Thank you. Glad I recognize that. They know it's not always just going to be perfect roses. Even though they're open to moving forward, having happiness, and welcoming in soulmates, they know not all soulmates are going to bring in the same kind of lessons or the same kind of possibilities. There will be those that give them red flags, and that is also an important lesson of, like, wow, I now know what to step away from. I think to be able to maybe choose well in life, knowing what not to choose is every bit as important as knowing what to choose. But how do we know unless we kind of experience a little bit of it? So I don't know, there's a protective element to this. We have got the Eight of Pentacles in the reverse. We have the Eight of Swords upright. We have the Hanged Man, and we have the Strength card. So definitely a character who is, when it comes to things like love, I think that they had waited for something to come toward them that didn't. I think that they are possibly just now realizing that they carried with them a little bit of miserable expectations, that they wanted those expectations to change, but they really didn't give much to making those things change. That is not who they are anymore. This is a character who's like, whoa, now, I get it. It's going to be a mixed bag. But I'm still going to go after things that I think will make me happy. Sometimes I'll pick somebody wrong, but it made me happy because I wanted to kiss those gorgeous, luscious lips. Maybe they're bad for me. Maybe once in a while it's like, oh, what's that song? Not that this is negative, but that song, and your lips taste like sangria. Things like Sheldon. I don't know. It just feels like, sometimes maybe they fall into somebody's arms where it's a little bit of like a, liquor fueled, passionate embrace, but they're going to own it. Like, I wanted to do that. Sometimes I will choose things that have red flags, but I'll also be protected enough to know I'll realize when I need to move on from it as well. Sometimes we don't know what we need to move on from until we get a taste of it, but there is a protective energy around our character. So all of this is letting them embrace more fully the fact that it is going to be a mixed bag. They're not going to just suddenly meet the perfect person. It's going to be healthy. It's going to be ideal, and birds sing in every tree, and there's happiness that is endless. This character is having a much more realistic vision of what love, dating, what that whole experience is about. There will be mistakes that we make, but that's okay too. I just feel like this character is getting so comfortable with the whole concept of romance and of what they actually want. Because usually, I think characters choose what they want, right? They choose that person that's hot, even if that person, they're like, oh my God, they're so bad for me, but oh, they're so pretty. We got Prince of Swords in the reverse. Yeah. I love this character because they're so truthful with themselves right now. They're being strong enough to look at things. They're saying, sometimes I didn't even bother to ask myself, why am I drawn to them? I just wanted the freaking adventure. So I've said yes to adventures. And you know what? I'll probably do that in the future as well sometimes. I won't always choose wisely. I know that because you don't know what you don't know till you know it. So I don't know. I just love the realistic aspect of this. We have the Death card. Death card is about change, transformation, looking at things through a different lens. We have the Ten of Swords. Wow. We have the Fool. And we have the Empress here. So we have a character, and this is very celestial. The first thing that caught my eye on the Empress card is, we have transit of planets. Now, of course, we're in the midst of Mercury retrograde as well. So it could very well be that our character is doing a lot of reflecting. So I always think about Mercury retrograde as it is, astronomically, which is Mercury laps Earth. It goes faster in its orbit than Earth does. So it appears to go in a reverse direction, but it's only because of our vantage point. The same way if we look at a clock, every time the clock goes around, hits 12, the hands are never going in the reverse, but at one vantage point, it's going to look like it is, but it's not. It's always going clockwise. Every time we pass by 12, for example, though, 12 hours have passed, we're 12 hours older, maybe 12 hours wiser, same thing. Every time something comes back around, we have maybe more knowledge. So we have a character that is reflecting on soulmates, maybe even reflecting on past life soulmates and saying, so wait a minute, what if in every lifetime, say I do meet different souls that I feel really drawn to, and I think this character admits to themselves, I am drawn to people, and I can't necessarily quantify why there are certain people I just like, I've pulled, I want them. I don't always know why, but I've come to realize it's because something deep in here says, I know them. I need something from them, or they need something from me. Sometimes it ends up in disaster. Sometimes there's hurt and pain. But why am I drawn to the people I'm drawn to? Oh, maybe because as we come around, we have a little different dance to do. Sometimes maybe we could get it to work out in this lifetime. Other times we meet again to close cycles together. Other times, maybe we still hurt each other a little bit. But the soulmates, it's like a person who's going through their little black book and saying, every person here was somebody important to me for a different reason, even if it ended in disaster. Because I'm realizing I was drawn to them for a legitimate reason. I know soulmates when I smell them. Doesn't mean it ends well, though. Doesn't even mean it's supposed to necessarily. Sometimes it's to close chapters, sometimes it's to learn stuff. But the bottom line is, I'm not sorry that I pick the people that I do. There's a reason that I gravitate the way I do, even if I don't understand it at first. So I want to say that this character could probably say with full authority, I am a freaking Empress. I do pick what I want. I don't even know why I do it, but I do it. I got this internal little system that, like a little beacon where I beep, beep, and I gravitate toward that little beacon from across the galaxy and I find another soulmate. And I embark on that soulmate journey with them, not knowing what is the lesson this time. But you know what? I totally embrace that. It's like a character is saying whether or not things wind up being the love of my life and we stay together in perfect harmony, or whether I meet different amazing people and maybe I only spend 2 years or maybe 3 months with someone. I really cared and I was drawn to them because they were a beacon of soulmate and I can smell it and I go toward it. And I don't know exactly why at first, but then I figure it out. The one thing I know is that I'm following what's right for me. That acknowledgement, that personal empowered viewpoint makes this character fearless about who they choose. They're also aware, I think, self-aware that sometimes they will have even painful experiences and they will have to be able to draw a line and exit, experiences that are like, wow, this taught me where I needed to put up other boundaries. Thank you, toxic soulmate. Thank you for that lesson. We must have found each other again because we still had some growing to do. It's a character, though, who's really trusting that things aren't happening to them. Things are happening because they're choosing these connections. And I think that is such an empowered viewpoint because to really be empowered means we have to accept our own bad choices, but I don't really want to call them bad choices either because it's not the way our character sees them. They're saying, I'm freaking brave. I follow my instinct. I go where I know I need to learn a lesson. Good, bad, ugly, no longer, I don't quantify it that way now. Some relationships are going to help me grow in different ways, but it's always going to be someone that I know I picked. I picked them because I saw a light in them. I saw a lesson that I could learn with them. I didn't know it at the time, That's how I operate. And I'm picking. Nothing's happening to me. I'm nobody's victim. I'm picking. It's a very strong position to have. Now, obviously, this does not always apply. Sometimes people do become victims, but I'm not telling a story about that. And I don't tell stories about that because that's victims and crimes do not have a place on my channel because I have zero tolerance for, abuse and things like that. So I don't tell stories like that. My stories are always about characters that are kind of like journeying through life and experiencing the range of human emotions, but not victims of crimes. Okay, I just want to be clear on that, because of course that would be a whole nother layer of a storyline. Did somebody choose to become a crime of a criminal or a victim of a criminal? Of course not. That's not this story though. So just to be very precise about that, this is a character who's like, yep, I picked every lever I had. I picked every relationship I ever had, the good, the painful, the spectacular. I'm in charge of it. And I know I don't always know why I do it, but I do know why I do it. It's because I'm listening to what it is I'm hungry for. Where are my soulmates? Where are my soulmates at? Isn't that a song, Where My Girls At? um, it feels like this character has probably fallen in love and will fall in love with people from far and wide. There is no, they could be somebody who lives in a small village where you would think that they wouldn't meet a lot of international people, and yet somehow they have dated primarily international individuals. And it's like, how, when you live in such a small village? Because it's not about a culture. It's not about, I'm from here, therefore I'll probably only meet people from here. No, they'll meet their soulmates. Soulmates could be scattered from all across different cultures, different continents. Doesn't matter. This is a character who's like, my soulmates are in any culture. It's whomever I feel that bond to. It's a really interesting character. They almost deserve like their own series, because I feel like this character would have so many adventures in love, and they would all teach him something different. And it could be like a really fun, cultural look at, okay, so if they're meeting this soulmate from here, what's that lifeline going to look like with that person? Does this mean that they never marry? It means that they aren't yet, even though they're an empress, because they're on the fool's journey. It's an empress recognizing they've been they've been following their intuition for a very long time. But their journey, they're so cognizant of it now. It's like, wow, my journey's going to continue. Only this time I know exactly why I'm doing what I'm doing. And there's someplace I got to go. I feel like they have to go somewhere, or there's a next soulmate that is from a very different culture from where they are from. I don't know exactly where that's going to be. This is a close-up of Italy is what we see. And we have Sicily here as well. So that could play a role. It doesn't have to, but I do see that here. Somewhere mainland Italy, but then also Sicily is and Sardinia are also depicted there from what I can tell. So I don't know, but I definitely feel like I want to follow this. Where are you going? How are you meeting this perhaps Italian or Roman or some other soulmate from a different place? We have 4 of coins in the reverse. 4 of Pentacles is like, I drop all reservations. Universe, what's the Phil Collins song? Now I wish it would rain on me. It's like, let it rain. It's okay. Bring it. Now, I think that's actually a sadder song, but the idea of just letting things rain on into my life. Universe, I am open. I know that I'll meet another soulmate. I'm ready for the next adventure. I'll see them or they'll find me. I love the fact that this is such radical belief in there's somebody up ahead that's going to be really important for this character. Can I get one more on this? I need to wrap this up right now because I'm going to start coughing, but I'm so intrigued by this character's story. We have a 2 of Swords in the reverse. We have a Prince of Cups upright. Oh, and here they come. And by the way, this looks so much like the frescoes from Via d'Este. It's a smaller village outside of Rome. And if I remember correctly, I've been there once. If I remember correctly, there was, and I can't think of his name right now, but the man who built Via d'Este, he wanted to be the Pope and they wouldn't let him. And so he was like, well, then I'll build my own, cathedral. And so he went outside of Rome and he made this very luxurious palace. It's sometimes featured. I've seen it in films before, but um, it's not exactly Vatican City. But I just remember chuckling because I'm like, oh my God, I would have loved to have met that person. Well, I want to be the Pope. What do you mean I can't be the Pope? Well, then I'll just go build myself Pope land somewhere else. By the way, no disrespect. I am not knocking any kind of religious beliefs, Catholicism, or anything like that. I have very much enjoyed the one Pope I got to see in real life. It was a fabulous experience. But I do giggle at things that I think are funny. And I thought that that was quite a swaggering individual. Anyway, that reminds me of this. Somebody who could perhaps have been, perhaps this Empress's soulmate, the next one they meet, could be someone who has a bit of a, you know what, if somebody won't let me do what I want, then I go someplace else and I build my empire there. This could really suit her. This could be a fairly brash, bold individual. This could be somebody that is, they could be Italian. Um, but there's an energy here. There could also be a strong spiritual belief system that this character has, but a real belief that they should be able to, pursue the things they want to in life, which could really match well with an Empress. I mean, together they could be a big power couple, but she is not um, blocking anything or making preconceived notions of this character. She would allow this person to pursue her, but I feel like this person is probably going to be pretty ballsy. I think they're going to do what they want. I think they're going to say what they want. I think they're going to be unabashedly themselves simply because of that little side story that I just mentioned. By the way, please fact check me on that. It's been many, many, many years since I was there, and it was one, hour and a half afternoon. So I may have some history wrong on that, but that's what it reminded me of. And my fictional storytelling always entails a little bit of everything: folklore, maybe some history, maybe some cultural references, some mythology, you name it. That's how I like my stories to come through. Anyway, you guys, thank you for being here. Lots of love to you guys. Take care. I'll see you again shortly. I must go cough. Bye.